decades of local experience who are actually decision makers. So every business loan we make is approved right here. Experience, service, and accessibility. That's how WSFS has become the largest locally headquartered business lender in the region. We're WSFS Bank, and we stand for service. How can we help your business grow? To learn more, visit WSFSbank.com. Member FDIC.
Headlines you can't get through your day without. On Power 101.7.
I just want to say this. Tonight, I'm humbled, grateful, but resolved in the spirit of my political hero, Robert Kennedy, to make more gentle the life of this world. Thank you all very much, and thank you to 40 million Americans, 40 million Californians, and thank you for rejecting this recall.
Wow.
Sounded like he was getting ready to cry.
I know. He looks emotional. Well,
that, of course, Governor Gavin Newsom in California.
California Democratic Governor Gary Newsom fended off a recall. Gavin Newsom fended off a recall challenge by a wide margin yesterday with a no on the recall, ahead by 2-1 with a 60% of the ballot being counted as of early this morning. It was a good turnout in mail votes, and early voting in the overwhelmingly Democratic state led Newsom to victory. And while his lead is likely to decrease some as the votes casted yesterday are being counted, it's too big to overcome if the recall did go through. Conservative talk radio host Larry Elder, who is a Republican, would almost certainly have been the new governor. So there you have it. He fended off a recall. Also, Nicolas, brought heavy rain after making landfall off of the Texas coast as a Category 1 hurricane early yesterday. And even though it was quickly downgraded to a tropical storm and then a depression, the slow-making storm will continue to dump lots of rain with southern Louisiana in sights today, even as the region is still recovering from Hurricane Ida. There was 14 inches of rain dropped in Galveston, Texas yesterday, and Houston got more than 6 inches. Forecasters say that Nicolas could stall over Louisiana, causing dangerous flooding, and as much as 10 inches predicted in parts of the state.
Again with Louisiana.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just...
They're still trying to recover from Hurricane Ida, and here they are again.
We always talk about, we're going to move down south. We're going to move to Florida. A lot of people around here, they talk about, eventually I want to move down to Florida. I want to move down south, and I mean, the hurricanes down there are just unbelievable.
But it doesn't change my mind. I still want to go.
I know. Us too, eventually. Down to Florida.
Doesn't change my mind.
Next story.
All right. The Justice Department asked a federal judge late yesterday to issue a temporary restraining order blocking enforcement of Texas's new law that bars abortion after 6 weeks of pregnancy and delegates enforcement to private citizens who can sue abortion providers and anyone involved in facilitating abortions, such as someone who drives a woman to the clinic for at least $10,000. Attorney General Merrick Garland has described the enforcement mechanism as a scheme to avoid this review. The Justice Department last week sued Texas over the law, charging that it was passed in and quote, open defiance of the Constitution. This latest move seeks to block enforcement of the law while the legal challenge plays out. So the Justice Department is asking the judge to issue a restraining order against the Texas abortion law. And some local news: an arrest has been made. This is breaking news in a 10-year-old Georgetown murder.
Wow.
This is unbelievable. A 31-year-old man was arrested in connection with a 10-year-old missing person case. Police say that in February of 2011, 45-year-old John Doug Wisniewski was reported missing to police. And over the last decade, police continued to investigate, learning that at the time that he disappeared, he was living with Michael Ellingson, now age 31. Then in January of this year, police say that they learned back in January of 2011 that Ellingson allegedly shot and killed him and then buried his body on the property. Police say that in January of this year, his body was found on the property. So he was arrested yesterday and charged with murder of the first degree.
Unbelievable.
After 10 years.
Well, what's also kind of fascinating about that story is that they continue to investigate the story, because normally that goes cold. You don't.
No.
10 years.
Yep.
Wow. Big news out of Maryland. All public schools in Maryland's 24 jurisdictions must require masks to be worn inside their buildings. The new rule goes into effect immediately following a 10-7 vote by the State General Assembly's Joint Committee on Administrative, Executive, and Legislative Review. Local superintendents will be responsible for enforcing it. Those who voted in favor for the regulation said the goal was to keep students and staff safe in school as much as possible. Masking limits the need for close contacts to quarantine, even with a positive case. Okay? Those who voted in opposition cited a need for local control. On August 27th, the state school board voted in favor of universal masking, but it still needed final approval. The current mandate is set to last 180 days and could be rescinded sooner or extended depending on the metrics. They will revisit the situation.
Okay.
But as of Tuesday, only Carroll and Somerset counties had not implemented these school mask mandates. All right? Many of the
now
35
they have to comply with it.
now they have to.
Okay.
And it starts today.
All right.
There is no like, well, it starts Monday. No, today.
Okay.
So for Carroll and Somerset County, I know around this area it's Somerset.
They had the option.
Everyone has to wear a mask now.
All right.
Yeah. Many of the 35 witnesses who spoke during the virtual public hearing before the vote were from Carroll County. So that's big news out of Maryland. Now that Maryland is now requiring masks in all of the jurisdictions, but it was only 2 left that didn't anyway. So there was a GoFundMe set up for a local guy I used to go to school with. And the GoFundMe reads, "Hi, my name is Jack Hanley, and alongside with Nikki Mecklejohn, not sure if I pronounced her name right, but we have come together to help the Rounds Jones family. The family of Teron Rounds, who I went to school with, aka Ron G, was apparently assaulted at a summer season-ending party. Ron G was enjoying himself when he was hit on the side of the head with a Modelo bottle that knocked him out. His head hit the pavement, and now he's at Christiana Hospital fighting for his life with a head injury. Ron G has a steep road to recovery. Meanwhile, the Rounds Jones family are having to relocate to Christiana Hotel to care for him and make medical decisions. The family faces prolonged hotel stays and mounting medical bills. To Ron's children, he's got 1, 2, 3 children are woven in the fabric of Indian River School District. Okay? We know them either through elementary school, middle, high school, or athletic fields of Lower Sussex, the middle school or Indian River High School. They're a fantastic family, and they're in the moment need of prayer, love, and financial help. So there is a GoFundMe set up, and we shared it on all of our social media sites. Okay? So you can head on over and, help out a great local cause. And this story is just... This story is unbelievable. And I just learned about this yesterday. This coming from the Dispatch. It says whether Ocean City councilman Mark Paddock's social media account was hacked has yet to be determined, but several of his colleagues on Tuesday called for him to take a voluntary leave of absence. The issue arose over the weekend when Paddock commented on a Facebook story post made by a local woman who had recently married local Bobby Hammond, whose family owns Atlantic Physical Therapy and is active in the local community. In a picture from the honeymoon, Hammond is apparently seen wearing a baseball-style hat backwards.
Okay.
Local councilman Paddock commented on Hammond's wife's story, posting an inappropriate comment. And I quote, "Tell the dude to turn his hat back where the white designed the hat to be worn." The post reads, end quote. Oh, and then it continues, quote, "Where I come from, that is a punk, immature POS." End quote. Hammond shared Paddock's comment on his wife's story on his Facebook page, writing, quote, "Interesting comment coming from an OCMD councilman, Mark Paddock, sent to my wife." End quote. Apparently, I'm a POS for not wearing my hat the white way. Okay? But at least I'm not a racist POS, Mark. I think I'll run for councilman next time up. Keep that seat warm for me, pal. In Worcester County, we don't have room for racism. Hammond's social media post quickly went viral, and the mayor and council learned of it. For the record, Paddock has claimed his social media account was hacked, and there's an investigation into that claim. However, at the close of Tuesday's mayor and council work session, Councilman President Matt James addressed the issue. He says, over the weekend, there was some disturbing information that was brought to my attention as the mayor and council became aware of the social media post by Councilman Paddock. He said, the comments of Councilman Paddock do not reflect the views of the mayor and council. The mayor and council denounces all acts of racism. I consider the comments to be shameful and totally unacceptable. James never made the alleged social media post public and called on Paddock to address the issue. There is no place for racism in Ocean City, and it's shameful that we have elected an official with comments like that on his social media account, he said. I'd like to give you the opportunity to address the public if you'd like to do so. For his part, Paddock said he, on his own, initiated the investigation into the possible hacking of the Worcester County Sheriff's Department. He declined to comment otherwise on Tuesday. From our discussion earlier today, I commented I have retained an attorney, and she's asking me to make no comment at this time. Thanks for the opportunity to address the council at this time. James asked Paddock to consider taking a leave of absence from the council until the investigation runs its course. He has refused. But the story is so fascinating because, you know, my wife and I, you, Jess, your family, we're all close to Bobby Hammond. And he's a great friend of ours and the family. We love him.
They just recently got married.
They're part of our family.
His wife posted a picture of him on her stories.
Yeah, they're on their honeymoon. They're out. They're taking pictures. Little Bobby had his hat on backwards, and he made those comments.
He made those comments on her story.
Correct. Yeah, but when you make comments on the story, it goes in your inbox.
Yes, and they took a screenshot of that.
And Bobby took a screenshot and posted it.
And that has gone viral.
And that's it. Now here we are today.
Wow.
Okay.
He said, keep the seat warm for me, pal.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
So, very interesting. Very interesting. We got sports up next.
Wow.
Keep listening. Here's the kid Leroy. Let's go.